A few months ago, I made a video about how I never seem to be able to finish a farm. After over 900 hours of gameplay, well, after nearly double that gameplay time now, I'm still in exactly the same position. So I guess I really do have a Stardew Valley problem. I'd made a video about all the things I've never done in game, but since then, I've completed some of them. I've recorded numerous new farm playthroughs, only to delete them after a season or two and start again. And I think that my main issue is self-discipline. Left to my own devices, I waver and change my mind. My wants and wishes seem to change weekly. But if I'm doing a playthrough that is prompted by the wants and wishes of others as well as my own, it might just push me that little bit further and help me achieve the things I really want to do in game. So basically, I need your help. In the background, you'll see some of the new farms I've started over the last few months. I have actually met the total number of save files and had to delete a bunch of others numerous times. And if you were curious, it maxes out at about 30 on the Xbox at least. So, before I ask for your help, here is a little recap of the things I haven't done and would like to do. So I did a big list of, I think it was over 60 items, so here are just some of them. So I started off, I have never played on the standard farm. Well, I have now, I've played it a couple of times. It's a really good farm. I just didn't have an emotional connection to it. 2, I have never visited the island. I still haven't done that. I've never fixed Willie's boats. Obviously, I've not done that. Otherwise, I probably would have visited the island. I've never gone into Skull Cavern apart from the first level during the festival. I have actually gone into Skull Cavern, but I've only gone 2 or 3 levels on that before running away crying. I've never picked up the Death Scythe. Well, I've picked that up a couple of times as well. That's brilliant. I've never gotten married or had kids or got a divorce. I have actually got married, but then shortly afterwards decided to start a new farm. Surprise there. I've never fixed the community centre in year 1. I've done that a couple of times too by now. I have never grown a giant crop. I have still not done that. I have never caught a legendary fish. I have caught one, I think, but that file, I think, has been deleted. I've never finished a farm. Well, I think that's obvious. I've never done that. I've never had a slime hutch. I've actually had slime hutches now on a few farms. I really like slime hutch. I like the fact that it adds that extra when you're in the mines. You might get a slime egg, and even though it's, it's only a few different slimes that you get, it's just a bit of extra fun. So yeah, I think going forward all my farms will have a slime hutch. I have never had an iridium quality tool or weapon. I have actually had one of those, and it was the scythe. I have never completed the museum. Nope, I've still not done that. I've never been in the sewers. I have now been in the sewers, and I've met Krobus, and that's really fun area as well. Let me see, what else haven't I done? I've never visited the witch. I still don't think I visited the witch. I might have had the cutscene to unlock it or start that process, but I can't remember meeting the witch. I've never completed the raccoon tree. Nope, I've never done that. I've never completed the greenhouse in the first year. Now I have done that. In fact, I've had in some playthroughs the greenhouse quite well equipped in the first year. I've never gotten full hearts with every character. Nope, still not done that. I've never cooked all the recipes. I've barely cooked any recipes in any of the playthroughs. So that's still one thing that I've never done. I've never completed all the secret notes. Now I've collected all of them in a couple of playthroughs now. I have never visited, or I've never been visited by Grandpa's ghost. Nope, that's still not happened. So that basically means I've never gone past year 2. So I think that's part of the problem. I've not lasted very long. I have never gotten the Galaxy Sword. Now, the Galaxy Sword, I think, is the one that you put the prismatic shard in the triangle. So I have got that on one playthrough at some point. I've never made a pretty farm. I've been on the way to getting to that point, but never quite got to the point where I'll decorate that farm. I've never purchased a horse. No, still not done that. Fully upgraded the farmhouse. Nope, I've not fully upgraded the farmhouse. I don't think. Although I have got a cellar. I don't think that's fully upgraded. I've never won a fishing competition. I've won lots of fishing competitions now. And I started using the bait maker. And that made it far easier. Never won a desert race. Yes, I did with the snail. So I've done that one. I've never entered the casino. Nope, I've still not done that. Although I have obviously been to the desert now and been inside the shop there. Never completed all the Slayer challenges. Nope, I've still not completed all of those. I've completed some, but the majority I've not completed. Never decorated my farmhouse. I've put up wallpaper and a picture, but that's about as far as that went. Never completely filled a shed with barrels or preserve jars. Now I have done that with a mixture of barrels and preserve jars. I've never used a sign. I think that might still be true. Can't remember using a sign. Never made an item of clothing. Nope, I've still not done that. Never got a dance in the first year. Definitely that has never happened. Never gone a day without realizing I left something behind. That is very true. I still forget things all the time and end up running backwards and forwards because my head is like a sieve. Never have I played a Junimo kart. In fact, the only game I played was in an Abigail cutscene. That is still true. I've not played those arcade machines. I've never bought food from the saloon. I have now bought food from the saloon. I bought some crab cakes after a cutscene at Willie's. I have never collected all the scarecrows. I've got quite a few on different saves, but I can't recall collecting all of them. Never remember to check my journal first thing in the morning. I'm getting a bit better at this. Checking regularly along with the TV. I've never played multiplayer. That is still true. Never seen more than a handful of cutscenes. That is pretty much also true. Although I've played quite a bit further on some of the farms, the only new cutscenes I've seen, I think, have been some of Emily's cutscenes. So there's still well over 20 characters that I've hardly seen any of their cutscenes. So that's obviously something that I want to do. Never used a forge. I've never done a min-max run. Those are both true. And to be honest, I will never probably do a min-max run. I'm not particularly interested in doing that type of gameplay. I play casually and I play to relax. And I understand that other players play in different styles because that's what they enjoy and that's how they relax. But for me, I'm a bit more disorganized and lazy, and we take each day as it comes type of player. Although I have developed quite a few things that I do regularly in each new playthrough, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Never caught all the fish. Well, I've certainly not done that. Never used a tent or the campfire. No, I've not done that. And never done a Joja run. That is also true. Never met all the NPCs. There are new NPCs on the island, I believe, that obviously I've never met. Talking of the island, there'll be many other things I've never done that I don't even know about. So that's something to look forward to. Finally, eventually, if we ever get there. This game obviously is absolutely huge and is so much value for money, and with another update in the works, there'll soon be, hopefully, even more things that I have never done, and I absolutely can't wait. But I do still want to go further. I want to progress. I want to see more cutscenes. I want to finish a farm. And I have 4 themes that I really want to do. And I've tried these themes over and over again and started them. And for various reasons, deleted the save. So I have a trailer park theme for Penny, who really is, well, I guess my favourite of the ladies, so that she can go from living in a caravan to managing a park full of them. Well, 3, as I play mainly on Xbox. Then there is the horror sci-fi theme farm that I tend to do with a wilderness farm that more often than not gets called Prometheus Farm. And in the past I've got quite far in and I just couldn't quite commit to going any further or completing it. Then there's the idea of a farm based on a program from my youth. There was a program in the 1980s in the UK called Victorian Kitchen Garden, and in my early teens I absolutely loved it. It was like therapy on screen, and the Four Corners farm is kind of like a walled garden, and I had the farm named after the presenter and my character after the star of the show. And those were really enjoyable farms. I keep saying that was, but there's been many iterations of these themes, get to a certain point and then get deleted. Then there's a theme that I've used a couple of times, a witchy fairy tale theme, obviously set on the forest farm. And I've just done a number of just general farms, particularly say with the standard farm that I tried. Done a couple of those now. That's a really interesting farm because you can obviously set it out completely as you wish. But these themes tend to inspire me to go further in the game. So if it has a theme, I tend to get a bit further along in the game because the theme is inspiring me to do so. And I've also returned to the Meadowlands farm a couple of times. That was the first time I played Stardew Valley seriously. It was 1.6. It brought me back. Well, it was on the Xbox after obviously initially playing and dismissing the game quite early on in the early days when it was playing back on a laptop. So in a way that has an emotional experience and connection to it as well. But starting so many new farms, I've come to realise that in every playthrough I've learnt a few tips and tricks. Not expert tips, not speedrun or min-max techniques, just useful tips and tricks that in the many Stardew Valley videos I've watched have been overlooked or not utilised, and I've seen how some people still struggle with some elements of the gameplay. So it would be nice to share these tips, especially for the casual game player like myself. Yes, I've tried some of the expert and speedrun tips, but I found that they just don't work for me or for how I play. And yet the way I play, I always seem to have quite a good start. Not the best start, but quite a good start. And seem to manage to get most of the things I want to get done early game. RNG permitting, of course. And RNG is something that completely changes the game. And every playthrough, well, start of a playthrough has been unique, from finding amazing items on the first day, like the living hat and an ancient seed, to not getting a single ring drop until late into fall and having to spend seasons running around in the dark. Each playthrough has been completely different, even if I have basically been playing the same way on the same farm map. It's absolutely brilliant, and might also be why I have deleted so many files due to having perceived bad luck on a certain save. And why? I guess the need to record and share my experiences in the first place. Well, I think that RNG has a lot to do with that too. Just to share those little moments of joy and sadness in some occasions when you arrive at a shop again, just as it closes and you lose out on a big reward, then, you know, those moments are part of the fun of the game. And there have been so many of these little moments, good and bad, and I want to share those moments because that's part of what we do as human beings. We share our experiences and the things that make us happy. So where to next? Well, I need help, really. I need discipline. I don't have much discipline, self-discipline at all. And I want you to help me. I want you to help me decide what to do. I'm going to start another new farm. Surprise, surprise. Oh, here he goes again. Starting a new farm, another one. Oh, fancy that. So I'm going to start a new farm and include some of those little tips that I've learnt that help me in my starting gameplay. And it does need to be themed because that just keeps me hooked. It just means that I'm going to get further in the game. So which theme do I do? Do I do my Penny Trailer Park farm? Do I do my Prometheus horror farm? Do I do my Victorian kitchen farm? Do I do a fairy tale forest farm? Or maybe another theme completely? Let me know what you think I should do. Let me know what you want to see me do, if you want to see me do anything, or which one you think would get me a little bit further in the game. I'm genuinely intrigued to know your thoughts, as from previous comments, I know that many of you struggle to complete the game too, and many of you have just as many, if not more, farms as I do. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and hopefully I'll see you soon with a brand new adventure.